guys, welcome to Punky's World. We're going to talk about libraries for genealogy. This is the second video in our Ancestors for Free series. I was calling it Free Ancestors, and then I realized somebody might look at that and say, oh, freed slaves. No, not so much. It's about, free as in no money, no cost. So I didn't want any confusion, so I called it Ancestors for Free. This part is about using libraries. Now, you may think that only like the New York Library or LA Library or places like that, big cities, would have anything useful genealogically. That's not necessarily true. City of Worcester is the second largest city in Massachusetts, the third largest in New England. The largest is Boston, obviously. That's a no-brainer. Both of their libraries, Worcester and Boston, have very good genealogical resources. And some of the paid databases you can get into for free through your public library. Maybe not if you live in a town of under 10,000 like I do. They wouldn't be doing that because they just wouldn't have enough call for it. But that doesn't mean you're out of luck. In my area, and all across Massachusetts, and I'm sure other states have these sort of interlibrary conglomerates. In our case, our area of Massachusetts, which includes Worcester, is called C.W. Mars, Central Worcester, Massachusetts. No, Central Worcester. What the heck? How did my battery already die? Hold on. Okay, I'm back, guys. I made sure this battery is in fact full before I put the bracket back on the bottom of the camera. As I was saying, ours is C.W. Mars. It's Central Worcester. I can't remember the whole thing, but it is our group of libraries, which means when you go on their website, you have access to all of the libraries within that. So if you have a library card from any one of the libraries in that system, library system, that's what it's called, you can take books out of any library in that system. For instance, I choose to have a Worcester library card because it gets me into the databases in Worcester. I use it in Douglas all the time. I do not need a Douglas library card. I use my Worcester one. I renew it online. It's free. Library cards are one of those rare things that are still free. And libraries are available online. And there are all different kinds of libraries. They're not just your town's lending library. They mentioned the Godfrey Library. Now, last I checked, the Godfrey Library was not free. But, because we had membership to the Godfrey Library because it's a genealogical society and allowed us to actually look at the records in Connecticut, which Connecticut makes as difficult as humanly possible. Sorry, allergy season. Ugh. Anyway, And it's a lot easier if you're a member of a genealogical society in Connecticut. And Godfrey was one that they accepted, was one that my mother researched, and she said, that's the one I want. And my dad said, send the check. So she did. I still have the card somewhere. Also, go to the National Archives and Records Administration, the NARA. You can search them online. You can also go there. They usually have more than one per state. Here in Massachusetts, we have one in Waltham, which is the one we've been to on more than one occasion. They also have one out in Pittsfield, which is in far western Massachusetts. It's actually further away than the one in Waltham. And Waltham is up in the Boston area, but not in Boston in any way, but it's up toward that area. But it's actually, like I said, it's closer than the one in Pittsfield. There may be 3 in Massachusetts, but those are the 2 I'm sure of. And yes, I love my chair. And it doesn't spin by itself on me, which I like. Don't be afraid to go to the New York Public Library online, the Los Angeles Public Library online. They have free online databases, which you do not need a library card to access, because I've done it. I also have a Boston Public Library card, by the way, because they're not in CWMARS. They have their own group, which is not in our group. Oh, I know what it is. Central and Western Massachusetts Regional, like CW, yeah, Central and Western Massachusetts regional something of libraries. And there is a Western Mass one as well, but there are actually 3 library groups in Massachusetts that connect to each other online, and you can read online books from any of them, and you can get interlibrary loans that way. If you're not familiar with an interlibrary loan is when you go to your library and you say, this other library in your area, grouping, whatever it may be, has this book but you don't. Can you get this book for me from that library? And I'll pick it up here because this is where I live. I will read it, I'll bring it back to you, and you send it back to that library. That's called an interlibrary loan. I've done that a zillion times. What's nice about the libraries is the libraries will have your local newspapers. Again, my library downtown does not have the local newspaper. My library has, well, the library that has my local newspaper is going to be the Worcester Public Library, because our newspaper is going to be the Worcester Telegram and Gazette, or I guess it's just the Worcester Telegram now. Short story about that. That's one of the oldest newspapers in Massachusetts, and it used to be, in my lifetime, a morning edition and an evening edition. They cut out the evening edition. The morning edition was the Telegram, and I believe the evening edition. No, the morning edition might have been the Gazette, and the evening edition was the Telegram. I could have that backwards, but there was two. There was a morning and an evening. It allowed them to get more news out by having 2 editions a day. I guess eventually, because people weren't subscribing as much. And eventually people are reading their news online. I don't know too many people that read a newspaper anymore. So they ended up doing that. But the Worcester Library actually has it all on microfilm, and it's now digitized, which is awesome for me because I can get all kinds of obituaries. I need to see if I can find Vermont ones online. Another library to think about. I don't know about the Mid-Continent Public Library yet. I haven't looked, or the Newbury Library, which are recommended. The Daughters of the American Revolution has a library that you can look in online. And I haven't, like I said, I haven't looked at any of those. New York Public Library I have. LA Public Library I haven't yet. And there's actually a lot in New York. Then there is the LOC, the Library of Congress. Now, the Library of Congress is in Washington, just like, the Smithsonian, and although I guess parts of that is in New York now. The Smithsonian, and then all the monuments, and the seat of our government, because it is the nation's capital. So, the Library of Congress, for those not familiar with exactly what it is, it's literally the library of, I was going to say the Library of the Nation, but it's literally our national library. It houses every book published in the United States. They have a copy of every book published in the United States. They also have other stuff, other historically significant collections of documents and things like that, and a lot of it is digitized. I would love to walk into the Library of Congress, because there is not a book that they do not have. If you want a book and they don't have it at the Library of Congress, then maybe that book doesn't exist, because even if it's out of print, the Library of Congress, if I can even get it out, has a copy of that book. That's how it works. Every book that has been published in the United States is in the Library of Congress. If you've ever noticed on the back of a book, there's a number. It says ISBN. You'll also see inside of a book, Library of Congress number. The ISBN tracks back to publisher. And when you go inside the cover of a book, let me see here. All books in their information page ISBN is a way that you can look up a book, order a book. Where is this book's Library of Congress number? I don't see it. Usually in the title page of a book, one of the things that you'll see is the Library of Congress number. I don't see it. It is possible that I shouldn't say every book published in the United States. I should reword that. Every book published by a publisher. If you published if you self-published or if you have a small publishing house, there may not be a copy in the Library of Congress. That's probably why that doesn't have a Library of Congress number, because it's published by Ancestor Hunt's website, by a small publishing company. Excuse me, through them. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. So that doesn't have a Library of Congress number. But typically, any book that you'll find in a bookstore, used bookstore, anything like that, is in the Library of Congress. Anything published by, the big publishing houses. And like I said, there are important documents that are there. No, you're not going to find the Constitution. That's in the Smithsonian under lock and key, as is the Declaration of Independence. Those are under lock, key, and all kinds of alarms at the Smithsonian Institution. But they might have copies of them, At one time, and I don't know how many states still have theirs. I would like to think all 50 do. Every state was presented with a copy of the Constitution when they became a state. Here's a funny story. The state of Ohio becomes a state. Well, it wasn't found out until like a century later, maybe more, that Ohio had been a state, but I guess it hadn't been ratified, and they had never been sent their copy of the Constitution. It's like 100 years or more later that they discovered that, whoops, we forgot to vote on Ohio. So, yeah, that's pretty funny. And that they had never been given their copy. So, or no, maybe they were given their copy, but they weren't voted on. Something happened anyway, and Ohio wasn't officially a state until much, much later than its actual statehood date, because they forgot to vote on it or something, or thought they already had voted on it, and they hadn't. And I guess they figured that out when they found their copy of the Constitution somewhere or something. I forget exactly how it went. You'd have to look it up, but it's funny. I remember hearing it going, oh boy. Oops. Huh. I just got a genealogical message. I'll have to check that out. One of my cousins that does genealogy, she found a new cousin in our DNA. A pretty close cousin. So the Library of Congress is definitely a place you want to check out. It's loc.org. It's really easy. Viz.org. I'll put it in the description anyway. Yeah, so if you look in a book that you're reading, as long as it's not a self-published book or one published by, a website or something, it's going to be in the Library of Congress. It's going to have a Library of Congress, catalog number. Let me see. Let me grab a different book and I'll show you that real quick. Let's see if I can find the book in the Library of Congress number. Okay. this one have a Library of Congress number? I think it does. Okay. That way I can actually show you what it is. Okay. Oh, no, that's a small publisher too. I have a lot of small publisher books because of the types of books that I have. So I need to find FCCW Press. I don't know if that will have a Library of Congress number or not. That one doesn't have anything. Where's the ISBN number and stuff? Okay, back here. After Bell. Okay, this one's in Library and Archives of Canada. Because ECW Press is out of Canada. Okay. Sheesh. Got to be a book here in the Library of Congress. I'm making a fool of myself. Telling you every book's in the Library of Congress. Sure it is. Let's see what they're here. I need to turn on the light. Library of Congress cataloging and publication date has been applied for. Okay, right there. They've applied to have it put in the Library of Congress for that book. It's not there yet at the time of publication. Okay, let's see. This one, Library of Congress has been applied for. I guess you have to apply for that. If a book doesn't apply for it, it won't be in there. So that's something else to keep note of that I didn't realize. I thought the publishers did that, but anyway. Is this one in the Library of Congress? I doubt it is. Of what it is. Okay, yeah, no, that's a private publication. Oh boy. See, I have a lot of small publishers and private publications, so it's hard for me to find one to give you an example. It stinks, but that's the way it goes. This one. Oh, should be in the Library of Congress. Oops. Okay, here we go. Okay, Canon Club Books. Nope. Wait a minute. Yuri. What about this one? Library of Congress catalog card number. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Right here, Library of Congress catalog card number. You're going to see it right here on the title page of the book. Like I said, I have a lot of small publisher books, so a lot of them either applied or haven't bothered. What the heck is going on here? I think I put that in the wrong spot. Shorter. Oh, that's follow. Okay, there we go. Now it's in the right spot. And you'll see that too. In a newer book, it might say applied for. I don't know if they pay for that or not. Probably. Um, but yeah, that's so I will put some of these links, excuse me, in the description. Hopefully I've given you another avenue. You know, go ahead and check out the libraries. I need to see if the Worcester Antiquarian Society has any digitized records. I need to write that down. Their records are pretty amazing. Worcester Antiquarium, S-O-C-I-T-Y. I mean, when I was there, nothing was online because that was back when I had cancer the first time in 1999. So it was a long time ago. I am going to make an appointment to get my eyes checked. There we go. I'm going to talk with my neighbor and see if he'll take me, since it's only at Walmart, and he takes me there anyway. So, I feel like Edith Ann sitting here in a big chair. Yes, I'm dating myself. Anyway, thank you for joining me. God bless you. Please subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers by August 4th, and I still think we can do it. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And when I come back, we are going to talk about Dark Side of the Ring, Adrian Adonis. Bye, guys. Mwah. God bless you.